A very good noon to one and all. Now, today in this lecture, we'll learn about the new topic material handling system. So, in this chapter, we have what are the contents in this chapter. First one is introduction about the material handling system and what are the functions of material handling system, and what are the types of material handling system. And in this material handling system, automatic guiding vehicles and robots. So in this unit we have learned about these two topics. Okay, so ఈ యూనిట్లో మనకి మెటీరియల్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ సిస్టమ్ గురించి, నెక్స్ట్ అందులో ఆటోమేటిక్ గైడెడ్ వెహికల్స్ గురించి, ఏజీవీఎస్ వెహికల్స్ గురించి అండ్ రోబోట్స్ గురించి మనం డిస్కస్ చేసుకుంటాం బ్రీఫ్లీ. సో అందరూ జాగ్రత్తగా లెక్చర్ని అర్థం చేసుకోండి. ఓకే, సో now we will discuss about the material handling system. So introduction. So a material handling system in a computer aided manufacturing environment can be defined as an integrated system involving the activities such as handling, storing and controlling of materials. Okay, so a material handling system in CAM, which can be defined as it is an integrated system involving the activities like handling, storing and controlling of materials. So the word material has very broad meaning, covering all kinds of raw materials, work in process, sub-assemblies and finished assemblies. So the primary object of using a material handling system is to ensure that the material in the right amount is safely delivered to the desired destination at the right time and at a minimum cost. So this is the introduction about the material handling system. And now, functions or requirements of material handling systems. So the material handling systems used in a CAM environment should possess the following functions, such as it should allow independent movement of work parts between the workstations. Okay, so it should allow independent movement of work parts between the workstations. Next, it should handle a variety of work part configurations and also allow the temporary storage of material, and it should have an easy access for loading and unloading of work materials, and it should be designed in compatible with the computer control system. Okay, so these are the various functions of material handling systems, various functions or requirements of material handling system. Now coming to the types of material handling systems, there are two types of material handling systems. Those two types are, first one, primary material handling system, and next one, secondary material handling system. So one by one we'll discuss about these two types of material handling system. So first one is primary material handling system. So the primary material handling forms basic layout of computer aided manufacturing system and is responsible for moving the parts between the stations. So this primary material handling system is responsible for the moving parts in between the two stations in the manufacturing area. Okay, so this is the primary material handling system. In this system, the it is responsible for moving parts between the stations. Okay, so the primary material handling consists of conveyor system, rail guided vehicles, RGVs, and automated guided vehicles, etc. So these are the uh, primary material handling system. And now what is the secondary material handling system? The main function of the secondary material handling system is to transfer the material or work between the primary material handling system to the machine tool or other processing stations. So, in the previous primary material handling system is responsible for moving parts between the stations. In secondary material handling system, it is to transfer the work between the primary material handling system to the machine tool or other processing stations, and its function is to position and locate the parts with sufficient accuracy and repeatability at the workstation for processing. Okay, so here the buffer storage of parts may also be provided at each workstation by the secondary system. So the secondary material handling system consists of transfer devices, automatic pallet changers, etc. So these are the various types of material handling system. And what are the variations? What are the differences between the primary and secondary material handling systems are? So in primary material handling system, its function is move parts between the stations. But here in material handling system, in secondary material handling system, its function is to transfer work between the primary system to the machine tool or processing stations. So, and in primary material handling system, it will not position and locate the parts. Okay, but here in secondary material handling system, it will position and locate the parts with the sufficient accuracy and repeatability. Okay, so in primary material handling system, it only moves parts from one station to another station, but not allow the buffer storage of parts. Okay, so here buffer storage is not available in the primary material handling system, but in secondary material handling system, it will allow the buffer storage of parts at each workstation. Okay, so it will allow the buffer storage of parts at each workstation. And now in primary material handling system, it consists of a conveyor system, rail guided vehicles, automated guided vehicles for moving the parts in between the stations. But in a secondary material handling system, which consists of transfer devices, automatic pallet changes for positioning and locating the work parts at the workstations. So this is the various differences between the primary and secondary material handling systems. Okay, so introduction about the material handling system and functions or requirements of the material handling system and various types of material handling system, primary and secondary material handling system, and what are the differences in between them. Okay, so up to now I hope everyone understand the concept, main concepts up to now. And now in this chapter we have learned about the two main important topics, automated guided vehicles and robots. Okay, and the first one is the automated guided vehicles. Automated guided vehicles. Automated guided vehicle systems. So an automated or automatic guided vehicle system is defined as a material handling system that uses independently operated or self-propelled vehicles that are guided along the defined pathways on the floor. Okay, so these are commonly referred as AGVS, automated guided vehicle systems. AGVS. So these vehicles are powered by means of on-board batteries that allow operation for several hours between recharging. So several hours means it about 8 to 16 hours. So the automated guided vehicle systems belongs to a class of high flexible, intelligent and versatile material handling systems used to transport the materials from various loading locations to various unloading locations throughout the manufacturing facility. Okay, so this is the automated guided vehicle systems. So what are the components? These are the components or a diagram of automated guided vehicles. Okay, so here is components of the automated guided vehicles. And now coming to the next topic is it's a types of automated guided vehicle systems. There are number of different types of AGVs are there. In this first one is towing vehicles. So these are the first type of AGVs to be introduced of around 1954. The towing is a coupling two or more objects together so that they may be pulled by a designed power source, designated power source or sources. Okay, so it consists of towing vehicles that pulls one more trailers to form a train. So see this figure here, towing is there. So it forms an efficient transport system. And coming to the next type is unit load vehicles. So this type of AGVS is used to move unit loads from one station to another station. They are normally equipped with decks that permit transportation of an individual unit load on board the vehicles. So the deck can be powered or non-powered roller, chain or belt deck, lift and lower type or custom deck with multiple compartments. The unit load vehicles are often equipped with automatic load transfer. And coming to the next type, pallet trucks. So automated guided pallet trucks are used to move palletized loads along predetermined routes. Okay, so these are designed to lift and transport palletized loads. The vehicle is used for picking up and dropping off the loads from and to the floor level. From and to the floor level, thus eliminating the need for fixed load stands. Okay, so it can be loaded and unloaded in automatically or manually. For load transportation, the vehicle normally moves along the path to a specific storage area destination, then lowers the pallet forks to the floor and pulls from the pallet and then automatically returns empty to the loading area. Now next type is forklift trucks. It has the ability to pick up and drop off palletized loads both at floor level and on stands, and pickup height can be different from the drop off height. The vehicles can position its forks at any height so that conveyors or load stands with different height in the material handling system can all be served. A system with these vehicles requires a more intricate path layout and a method for accurately positioning the loads on the floor or on stands. It also requires greater discipline than the other systems. Okay, so next, light load vehicles. They are used to handle small light parts over a moderate distance and to distribute the parts between the storage and number of workstations. They are designed to operate in areas with limited space, very limited space. Okay, and the next type is assembly line vehicles. These are adoption of the light load transporter for applications involving serial assembly processes. The guided vehicle carries major subassemblies such as motors, transmissions, or even automobiles. As a vehicle moves from one station to the next, succeeding assembly operations are performed. The major advantage of the automated guiding vehicle system assembly line is lower expense and ease of installation when compared with hard assembly lines. The line can easily be changed by adjusting the guide path if necessary and by reprogramming. Okay, so this is the various types of automated guided vehicles and introduction about the automated guided vehicles. And various applications of AGVS automated guided vehicles are towing vehicles. So its application is moving heavy payloads over long distances in warehouses and factories without intermediate stops along the route. Okay, and next, unit load vehicles. So its application includes in warehousing and distribution systems where the guide path lengths are relatively short but the volumes are high. So, and pallet trucks. So its application find in various industries to move the palletized work parts from load area to the destination points. Next, forklift trucks. It is one of the most expensive AGVS types, so they are applied only in systems where full automation is required. Next, light load vehicles. Its application find in light manufacturing processes like electronic fabrication, small manufacturing parts assembly. It is deal for it is it deals with the very vital role in the manufacturing, and it is ideal for moving parts in trays or baskets in very small and tight areas. So next, assembly line vehicles. It finds application in industries where more number of sub-assemblies are required to be carried between the different workstations. Okay, so this is the clear cut information about the AGVS. So in this lecture, what is material handling system? So a material handling system in a computer aided manufacturing environment can be defined as an integrated system involving activities such as handling, storing, and controlling of materials. The main primary object of by using a material handling system is to ensure that the material in right amount is safely delivered to the desired destination at the right time and at a minimum cost. So and functions of material handling system, it should allow the independent movement of work parts between the workstations, and it should handle a variety of work part configurations, and it should allow temporary storage of material, and should have easy access for loading and unloading of work parts, and should be designed in compatible with the computer control. And various types of material handling systems, primary material handling system and secondary material handling system. So primary material handling system means it forms a basic layout of computer aided manufacturing system, and it is responsible for moving parts between the workstations. And the secondary handling system, the function of the secondary handling system is to transfer the work between the primary material handling system to the machine tool or other processing stations. And its function is to position and locate the parts with sufficient accuracy and repeatability at the workstation for processing. So, and now coming to the automated guided vehicle systems, it is defined as the material handling system that uses independently operated self-propelled vehicles that are guided along the defined paths on the floor. These are commonly referred as a AGVS, and the AGVS belongs to the class of highly flexible, intelligent, and versatile material handling systems used to transport the materials from various loading locations to the various unloading locations throughout the manufacturing area. So this is the on various types of automated guided vehicles, towing vehicles, pallet trucks, unit load vehicles, forklift trucks, light load vehicles, assembly line vehicles. And what are the applications of AGVS? So towing vehicles, assembly line, these are the various applications. Now in this lecture we'll discuss about the robotics. Okay, so first of all, uh, robotics robotics is a branch of engineering that involves conception, design, manufacturing, and operation of machines assigned for specific high precision and repetitive tasks. So, in the programmable automation, robotics concept plays an important role in the production system. So, robotics is another example for the uh, programmable automation in production systems. So a robot is used as a material handling device. So robots are a programmable machines with human-like capabilities. They are made of mechanical components, a control system, and a computer like a NC machine tool. So a robot also required a program to control and coordinate the movement of its axis. So a robot can be employed to serve variety of tasks like picking, placing, assembly of components, etc. So its role is more significant in the computer integrated manufacturing environment. So what is the definition? There are so many definitions are introduced by different companies or different institutions. So according to the Robot Institute of America (RIA), a robot is defined as a robot. It is a programmable multifunction manipulator designed to move material, parts, tools, or special devices through variable programmable motions for performance of variety of tasks. So a robot can also be defined as a machine that does work on its own after it is programmed by humans. Okay, so this is the robot. So in the generally in the manufacturing environment, robots are necessary for to do with capabilities superior to those human beings in terms of strength, size, speed, accuracy, and repeatability. And to perform the simple and repetitive tasks with better quality and consistency, and to perform the task which human beings do not like to do, and to perform the task in difficult and hazardous areas to replace the humans and to perform the task without rest and to reduce the cost of labor and to be more flexible. That means it should be reconfigured and reprogrammed and to make them be used in new or modified applications. So these are the various important things in the manufacturing environment, okay, about the robot. And now coming to the types of robots. So robots are broadly classified into the according to its type of control and according to capability, according to the configuration and based on the manipulation function. So one by one we'll look at of it and according to the type of control means we are going to control the robot with the help of the numerical control program. So this one is according to the type of control is a point to point robots and continuous point robots and computer trajectory robots and servo controlled robots. So these are the according to the type of control and its capability. Now according to the capability, so sequence control robots, adaptive robots and intelligent robot. So according to its capability, these three terms are under into the account. And now according to its configuration, so Cartesian coordinate robot, cylindrical coordinate robot, spherical robot, articulated robot. So these are the configuration robot. And coming to the manipulation functions, based on manipulation function means pick and place robot, universal robot, special purpose robots. So these are the various types of robots involved in the manufacturing area. And now, so according to the configuration, so in our syllabus, we will discuss some of the most common robot configurations. So robot configurations. First one is a polar coordinate. So polar coordinate configuration robot. So it is the polar coordinate configuration robot. This is also called as a spherical coordinate robot because the workspace within which it can move its arm is a partial sphere. So this is the figure. See this figure. Here the robot has a rotary base and a pivot that can be used to raise and lower a telescopic arm. So this is the polar coordinate robot. And now cylindrical robot, cylindrical coordinate. So in this configuration, the robot body is a vertical column that swivels about vertical axis. The arm consists of several orthogonal slides which allow the arm to be moved up or down and in and out with respect to the body. This figure shows the cylindrical robot. And now jointed arm configuration robot. So it is similar in appearance to the human arm. The arm consists of a straight member connected by joints which are similar to the human shoulder, elbow and wrist. The robot arm is mounted to a base. So next one is a Cartesian coordinate configuration robot. It consists of three orthogonal slides as shown in figure. So three slides are parallel to x, y and z axis of a Cartesian coordinate system. So the robot is capable of moving its arm to any point within three-dimensional space. So these are the various robot configurations generally used in the manufacturing area. And now principal components of a robot. So this is the typical robot. It's a standalone robot. So these robots, the basic following components: robot controller unit, and manipulator, and robot tooling. So here the robot controller, uh, the program instructions to the robot to perform the desired task are input through the keyboard of this unit. A teach pendant is also provided for giving non-textual commands input. The controller converts the input program to the suitable signals which activate the manipulator to perform the desired task. So this is the robot controller. Now coming to the manipulator, which consists of a base, arm and wrist similar to the human arm. It also includes power source, either electric, hydraulic or pneumatic, on receiving signals from robot controller, and this mechanical unit will be activated. So the movement of manipulator can be in relation to its coordinate system, which may be Cartesian, cylindrical robots, etc. So depending upon the controller, the movement may be point to point motion or continuous motion. This is the manipulator. And now tooling, robot tooling. So it is the hand or the gripper of the robot, and is also called as a end effector. And it is provided at the end of the robot arm. Its design depends on the nature of the work to be performed by the robot. In part handling applications, the type of part used would influence the shape, size and material of the gripper. In some applications, task tools like spray painting gun, flame cutting torch, drilling spindle, etc. are directly fastened to the robot wrist and acts as the end effector. So these are the principal components of a robot. Now coming to the degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom in the robot motion. So the number of independent movements the wrist can perform in three-dimensional space relative to robot's base is called degrees of freedom of a robot. So there are six basic motions or 6 degrees of freedom which provide the robot with the capability to move the end effector through the required sequence of motions. The 6 basic motions consist of 3 arm and body motions and 3 wrist motions as shown in this figure. So these motions are arm and body motions. So first vertical traverse, so up and down movement of the arm, and now radial traverse, in and out of the arm, and rotational traverse, rotation about the vertical axis, that means right or left swivel of the robot arm. And now wrist motions, so wrist motions, roll, pitch, so roll, wrist swivel, that means rotational or swivel movement in the plane perpendicular to the end of the arm. And wrist bend, that means pitch, up or down movement of the wrist, which also involves rotational movement. Now so right or left swivel of the wrist. Okay, so these are the various degrees of freedom of a robot. And now coming to the next one, end effectors. So the end effector is the end of the arm which is provided at the end of robot arm. So it is attached to the robot wrist to perform a specific task. The task may be work handling, spot welding, spray painting or some other functions. So the end effector will have 3 degrees of motions, namely roll, pitch, yaw. So types of end effectors: there are two types of end effectors: grippers, tools. So grippers are used to hold either work parts or tools. The type of material used for grippers depends on orientation of part and friction between the part and gripper. So the operations performed by the gripper to move the fingers with commanded speed and to grip the handled part with not more than specific force. Next, to open, move and close the fingers at specified positions and to measure dimensions of part. And types of grippers are mechanical grippers, magnetized gripper devices, hooks, scoops or ladles, suction cups, vacuum cups, etc. So these are the different grippers. Okay, and now tools. So grippers, tools. So the use of gripper as an effector is limited because it may not be compatible to certain applications like welding, painting, etc. So a robot tool is fastened directly to the robot wrist and acts as an end effector. So tools used with robots like spot welding gun, arc welding tools, spray painting gun, drilling spindles, grinders, etc. So these are the various end effectors used in the manufacturing, used in the robot. Okay. So now coming to the advantages and the limitations of robot. So various advantages like consistency. Consistency means it eliminates the human labor in the production and can be employed in the hazardous working conditions, and it can be reduced rejections and elimination of production losses due to the operator fatigue, and flexible to adopt a new technology as it is a highly uh, programmable unit and to perform the repetitive tasks and reduced labor cost also. Irregular work surfaces or heavy work surfaces are easy to uh, involved, easy to operate and easy to perform the task of handling. And the main limitations of robot, its initial investment is high. Initial investment is very high and need expert technician to undertake maintenance problems. And now coming to the uh, robots in computer integrated manufacturing systems. So robot plays a important role in the computer aided manufacturing systems. So robots are used in this environment because they have a number of performance advantages over the human labor or hard automation in manufacturing systems. So robot programs can be very simple or complex depending on the nature of the task and the type of motion control involved. This makes more flexible of CIMS environment. So robots are used in automated parts handling like picking, placing of parts, loading and unloading of parts on required machines. So automated parts processing like drilling, riveting, arc welding, etc. So automated parts assembly like car bodies, motors, etc. This makes the computer integrated manufacturing environment more efficient. So therefore, these industrial robots has become an essential component of CIMS. So it supports the greater integration of the factory operations. So various applications, areas of application of robot in manufacturing environment like parts handling. So parts handling means to recognize and separate the parts and picking and placing the parts at desired locations and palletizing and depalletizing the parts, loading and unloading the parts on required machines. So these are the various applications in the parts handling applications. And now parts processing. So it involves for doing operations like drilling, riveting, arc welding, grinding, coating, heat treatment, spray painting, polishing, flame cutting, etc. So inspection also. And now product building. So in the product building, it may involve the assembly of products like electric motors, car bodies, circuit boards, etc. So nowadays robots are increasingly being used in undesirable and hazardous environment like that of excessive heat, dust, noise, fumes, and for doing dirty, dangerous, and difficult tasks. So, robots plays a very important role in the present scenario. So, this is the brief discussion about the topic robot. So, overall, in this unit, material handling system. So, a material handling system and its functions, and the types: primary material, secondary material handling system, and now automated guided vehicles. So, automated guided vehicles types and applications, and next robots types, and components of robot, degrees of freedom and effectors, advantages, disadvantages, and applications of robot, and role of robots in a computer integrated manufacturing system. So this is the unit 6 unit 6 in a computer aided manufacturing subject. I hope everyone understand these concepts. So please read well and stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Bye.